Hello, and welcome to Cyber Risk Management in Practice. In this video, we're moving into the next major phase of the program, implementation and communication, where treatment plans start turning into action. By now, you've done the assessment, identified treatment strategies, and prioritized the risks that need attention. Now comes the shift from ideas and approvals to real, tangible change. This is where many cyber risk programs slow down because translating a plan into actual execution is where complexity really shows up. It's not just about tracking controls or checking off boxes. It's about coordinating across teams, dealing with unknowns, adjusting as new information comes in, and still keeping momentum. That's why in this chapter, we treat implementation as its own structured discipline, something that deserves the same level of care and planning as the assessment itself. Risk treatment decisions only matter if they lead to action, and action at scale requires structure. Once risk treatment decisions have been made, the next challenge is making them real, turning those decisions into projects that get delivered, tracked, and completed. And that's where structure matters. You don't need to follow a formal project management framework, but you do need a clear approach to organizing and following through on the work. In this chapter, we break implementation down into five familiar phases: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and closing. Let's walk through them. Initiating. This is where you define the scope of what needs to happen. Which risk is being addressed? What's the objective? Who owns it? This phase is also where you line up resources, technical teams, external vendors, legal support, stakeholders, whoever needs to be involved. Planning, now you map out the how. What's the timeline? What are the key milestones? Are there dependencies that need to be tracked? Will there be downtime, testing windows, or regulatory reviews? The goal here is to create clarity before work begins, so everyone's on the same page. Executing. This is where the work gets done. Maybe it's implementing a new control, switching vendors, decommissioning a system, or re-architecting a process. This phase might also include security testing, architecture validation, or a reassessment of the risk to make sure the planned treatment still fits. Monitoring. Here, you're tracking progress, managing timelines, and communicating changes. Things rarely go exactly as planned, so the ability to adapt without losing alignment is key. Closing. And finally, the closeout phase. What was delivered? Did it achieve the intended risk reduction? Are there follow-up actions, documentation updates, or lessons learned that should be captured? A strong closeout process builds momentum. It shows progress, builds trust, and helps others see that risk treatment is more than theory. It's something the organization can actually execute. Because clarity, consistency, and follow through in communication often make the difference between slow progress and real results. When we think about risk treatment, it's easy to focus on the technical work, new controls, architecture changes, vendor shifts, tool deployments. But there's another layer that makes or breaks execution: communication. In cyber risk management, communication is a lot more than just updates. It's how you assign responsibility, align expectations, and keep the work on track. It's how you maintain momentum. At this stage, teams need clarity. What needs to be done? By when? Who's responsible? What does success look like? If people aren't sure what's expected of them or when they'll be needed, delivery slows down and trust in the program starts to erode. That's why clear, structured communication matters throughout implementation. It helps you assign ownership, set realistic deadlines, provide the context behind decisions, communicate the why behind each initiative, surface blockers early, and resolve them with the right people involved. And as the work progresses, communication helps track progress visibly. Dashboards, briefings, working sessions, updates, these all help keep people aligned without overwhelming them. This is especially important when you're dealing with organizational change. When risk treatment means shifting roles, adjusting workflows, or revisiting priorities, communication helps manage the transition and support adoption. It also creates space for feedback. Not every treatment effort will land cleanly the first time. Good communication keeps the conversation open so you can adjust when needed without losing credibility. And beyond just getting the work done, communication helps the business see the value in what's happening. It's how you make cyber risk management visible, not just in reports, but in results. Not every risk will be treated right away. Sometimes the cost is too high, the control options aren't feasible, or the risk falls within the organization's defined appetite. In those cases, the treatment strategy becomes acceptance. But this isn't the same as doing nothing. Formal risk acceptance is still a decision. It should be informed by the analysis and approved by someone with the right authority, usually based on the risk's potential impact. That's why part of this implementation phase includes documenting acceptance properly. In the book, we walk through tools like risk acceptance letters, which outline what's being accepted, who's accepting it, the rationale, and any conditions or expiration dates attached. This might include plans to revisit the decision, changes in system use, or future controls to reevaluate. It's also important to make accepted risks visible, not buried in a spreadsheet or locked away in an audit folder. They should be monitored, reviewed on a regular basis, and revisited if conditions change. Because risk isn't static, and what's acceptable today might not be tomorrow. Formal acceptance creates transparency. It shows that risk is being managed, not ignored. It also frees up resources. Instead of spreading effort across every possible issue, the organization can focus on the risks that truly require treatment while still keeping others under watch. This final step helps round out the treatment phase. Risk implementation isn't just about new controls, it's about driving results, keeping people aligned, and making decisions that are traceable, explainable, and effective over time. If this approach resonates with you, there's a lot more discussed in the book. Find your copy and embark on this journey with me, improving your cyber risk management program step by step with a practical approach.